Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning. I'm Sunnyvale Mayor Larry Klein. Thanks for joining me again this week at our new early time. We might be doing this a little bit earlier on a weekly basis now. This is the 65th installment of my weekly virtual office hour address. We've now reached 452 days since the March 16th, 2020 county health order started the shelter in place in an attempt to slow that spread of the virus. And more than a year ago, I converted my weekly office hours, that a coffee shop downtown on Bean Scene, into this live stream address in order to um, reach out to more people. And I haven't missed a week since. Uh, Please continue, of course, uh, to give me your feedback, give me your comments and questions. People really say they appreciate these weekly events and hearing from their mayor. So I'll continue to do them through the end of shelter in place, which to a certain degree seems to be next week and a little bit longer. Might not be every week, but we'll continue these for now. These virtual office hours are really great. They allow me to just do a reset on what's happened in the last week or so, and then just give you updates. Answer your questions and provide some general words of encouragement to a larger group than what would have been at a coffee shop. Although sometimes it went for several hours and meeting with lots of people. But thank you for allowing me to continue to represent you, work for Sunnyvale during this time. I hope everyone's doing well, staying healthy, being safe, and of course, getting your vaccination. Uh, Everyone should be able to get that now if you're 12 years of age or older, and conceivably also have a financial incentive because of the lotteries. But we'll talk about that soon. As I mentioned last month, I will continue to change my background art thanks to the Sunnyvale Art Club. And so today's piece is called Introspection 2, and it's by Geeta Taneja. And so we've had Geeta give us some works before, but very Picasso-esque. But I really like it. I really like the gold frame and the coloring. And if you want to purchase that art, just reach out to me and I'll put you in contact with the artist. And of course, as far as the health orders, follow the county health orders, follow the state health orders. They're the same at this point. Do your part to stop the spread of the virus. Continue to, of course, even past next Tuesday, wash your hands, don't touch your face, reduce the number of people that you're coming in contact with, maintain a safe social distance when you're out, depending on how safe you feel, and of course, get your vaccination when it's your time. And it's pretty much a large majority of our time now. Let's go ahead and talk about what's happened at the federal, state, county, and city level over the last 2 weeks. So last Monday was Memorial Day, of course, although it seems like it's been quite a long time ago at this point. But it's a chance to kind of think back on those who've basically given their lives defending our nation. And for those who have served, I know it's a somber occasion, and especially all the families that have been affected by people that we've lost serving our country. So thank you for that, for those that have served our country, and especially for those that have made that ultimate sacrifice. Last Tuesday was the beginning of June, and on a brighter note, it was the start of Pride Month. So, last Tuesday morning we had a small flag raising ceremony uh, behind Sunnyvale City Hall. In front of City Hall, they're have basically built or dug a large hole as we're doing underground parking for a new City Hall. So the old flag poles, or actually there's new kind of shorter flag poles moved behind City Hall, and we did a quick flag raising ceremony. And in 2019, so just about 2 years ago, council unanimously adopted a resolution to commemorate Pride Month every year by displaying the Pride flag annually from June 1st to June 30th. So it was good to to get out and have see a few of my other council members, which I haven't seen face to face for a while, for a very small ceremony at City Hall. So if you go by City Hall, you'll see at least the back side, the south side, you'll see the flag, pride flag flying. And then, of course, last Tuesday also kicked off our library sunny summer reading program. And of course, it's filled with presentations, events, activities. They're all online this summer. So we're still kind of being very cautious based upon COVID. But, all participants who finish the program will win a prize and be entered to win a large prize at the end of the summer. And of course, the library hours are being expanded, but right now it's Monday through Saturday, 1 to 6 p.m. And you'll hear, and we'll get more hours later. And then last Thursday, Governor Newsom spoke in San Francisco and said that the restaurants will continue to do some of the items that have been very positive during COVID. So, having to go cocktails and alcohol, having outdoor dining beyond June 15th. So that extension will continue to at least January 1st, 2022, to give the state legislature some chance to resolve this. That's so they're still, discussing this at the state standpoint, but we have a little more time now to deal with what the new normal is going to look like from a restaurant standpoint. And then last Thursday night, there was a first annual Pride event on Murphy Avenue. And so it was really great. It was brought to you by, of course, the City of Sunnyvale, partnering with the Sunnyvale Downtown Association, the Chamber of Commerce, the Santa Clara County Office of LGBTQ Affairs, Fabulous Sunnyvale, Silicon Valley Pride, the Sunnyvale Art Club. So it was actually a lot of people getting together to celebrate Pride. There were a few speeches and a DJ playing background music for the evening, and we're having music all through June and July on Wednesday and Thursday nights. So it's background music mainly, with the DJ playing, and it was good just to be out and see people and kind of celebrate Pride Month, as well as celebrate people getting vaccinated and being able to be out again. The art club put together a quick Pride presentation, and so you can now see that at the Sunnyvale Library. So if you go by the library, you can see that installation has been moved to the library for now, I think for the rest of the month. And then our Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety showcased their brand new Pride patch, which you can see here. And so it's basically showing their support for the LGBTQ community. And many of our officers are wearing that for Pride Month. So it's actually good from that standpoint. A few other cities have done it, and I took it to the chief about 2 years ago this month, and COVID was a little difficult, but 2 years later, some of the officers are wearing that, and I'm proud to have basically our public safety department showing that inclusivity and support for members of city staff, residents, businesses, our general community. And then last Friday, Governor Newsom had a press conference. He's not having as many as he was before, but it started with, I'll say, a game show. He chose the first 15 names in the $50,000 lottery for those vaccinated. So, and he'll do that again today. So it was choosing of the over 1 million people vaccinated with at least one shot. Everybody's name was put into a lottery. It was reduced down to 200 names, and then 15 names were pulled from a hopper by the governor, and I think by Dr. Galley. But ultimately, it was important to celebrate that, and reward people for getting their vaccinations. So they'll be doing that again today. So another 15 people will be chosen today, And then, of course, next Tuesday is the big 10 people will get $1.5 million. So that's coming up later today and then again on Tuesday. And the governor talked about the kind of what things look like post-pandemic. So we're not lifting the state of emergency, and I think that's a good thing. For one thing, we might need to lock down again in the fall, but it also provides us the ability to get FEMA funding. So, continuing that state of emergency is very important. But he did say that we will be removing the tiers on June 15th, but having some restrictions on large gatherings, although he didn't say anything specific last Friday, but things were made a little bit clearer earlier this week. And then last Saturday was a big event to some degree. It was a small event as far as the number of people in attendance, but it last Saturday ended a year, or more than a year, of Saturday calls with the county health, county supervisors, the mayors, the city managers. It was, so for over a year, every Saturday we've been meeting for at least, an hour, hour and a half scheduled every week, sometimes a little bit longer depending upon what the issues were. But this was, started in response to the mayors coming together, and this was part of my task as president of the Cities Association, but getting the mayors together to say to the county, we want to partner on county health for COVID, for COVID testing, for tracing, for vaccinations whenever they were going to come. And it's made a big difference, as we've found, a way through the shelter in place and the ever-changing issues that have occurred during the pandemic. I think it would really made a difference, and I think I appreciate kind of the long-term collaboration that we've actually created between the county and cities, and so it's expanded far beyond COVID at this point. It's looking at other programs that are happening within the county. It's looking at housing. It's looking at unhoused. It's looking at all the different issues that the county, works on. But usually that was mainly, a lot of the focus was San Jose centric. And San Jose does have half the population in the county. But a lot of it was lost beyond that on partnering with some of the cities, and especially some of the smaller cities. So this allowed a dialogue to occur that I think will be a long-term benefit of what's happened during COVID. So from that standpoint, I think it was very positive, but it marked the end of our weekly meetings, and now conceivably we'll have them intermittently moving forward, but that dialogue between the county and the cities, the city managers, the supervisors, I think that will continue in a positive manner. And then this Tuesday night, council had another long meeting. It was a very busy evening. We started with the ceremonial swearing in of our newly appointed board and commission members. So we went through a process of interviewing about 36 people. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, we did the appointments, and this was the kind of the ceremonial swearing in for all those board and commissioners so that they can join our boards beginning of June, or whenever their first meeting is in June or July. And then we then had a special order of the day for Pride Month, and so it was kind of just to declare June as LGBTQ Pride Month. And Councilmember Cisneros, our first openly LGBTQ council member, spoke for a little bit, and it was very good from that standpoint. And then as far as the main meeting, we had a lot of items. We had our final meeting to hear from the public on our 2021-2022 proposed budget. And so I had a certain number of people talk on that. Council gave some directions on a few things that we would like to at least evaluate for the upcoming budget approval meeting that we'll be having. And then we had a discussion on the utility rates for next fiscal year, which I've talked about. These are pass-through costs on operation and maintenance. So water will be increasing 1.5%, wastewater will increase 4%, and solid waste 4%. And so on just on a typical single family utility bill, this means that your rates will increase about $4.76 per month. And then we had a good discussion on several things that kind of grouped together, but it was authorizing budget modification for Fair Oaks Park renovations, uh, and a lot of this had to do with the Magical Bridge, all-inclusive playground. The county last fall gave our Fair Oaks Park an additional $500,000 to fund additional efforts for the Magical Bridge all-inclusive playground. And because of that, we incurred additional design work and some contingency fees. So that was part of our effort to make sure that was funded, as well as it was approving the unhoused program for the unhoused that were at that park, that the city has basically put up in the travel inn and paid Home First to provide those services and food through August 31st. And that program has been fairly positive, and it's been a lot of effort between the city, Sunnyvale Community Services, Downtown Streets, Home First, uh, unhoused advocates, working with the county. So it's been a lot of effort over the last more than 6 months, more than probably 8 months, as we looked at solutions when the county couldn't provide those services during COVID. But actually, earlier on Tuesday, the Board of Supervisors directed county staff to do negotiations to take over that program. Um, as late as September 1st. So we will fund that at least until August 1st or August 31st, and then the county will take that over September 1st, and then they will work on housing, finding either other uh, uh, transitionary housing or permanent housing for the unhoused through at least the end of November. So that's actually very positive from that standpoint, that is moving forward. That program is moving forward. And so uh, and then we also went through that evening. One of the items that we had postponed from the previous meeting was the post-construction report to retain the existing configuration for the Maud Avenue bike lanes. So those are the class 2 bike lanes. We took out um, a lot of parking between Borregas and Fair Oaks Avenue. We changed, like, there was a turn lane that was kind of removed, that pork chop turn lane, which was removed next to uh, Bishop Elementary. So there were some road improvements and some street improvements as far as that's concerned. But this was to evaluate kind of off-street parking. We were worried a little bit about when we removed those parking spots to put in the bike lanes, how much overflow parking would been moved into the residential neighborhood. And that was kind of an overall study that council had directed staff to do when this was approved back in May of 2016. And so ultimately that looked like the ongoing effects for removing those parking spaces wasn't bad as far as the neighborhood was concerned. And so that was approved. And then on Wednesday of this week, California Department of Public Health confirmed that the state will align with the federal face mask guidance on June 15th. So not so many, you won't see as many masks, but I think, in general, people are comfortable wearing masks. I know, at least as far as myself is concerned, um, I've had fewer allergy issues. And of course, the cold and flu season wasn't as bad this year because of masking. But masks, in general, if you're vaccinated, aren't required. Masks will still be required for everyone through at K through 12 schools and in child care centers. If you're on public transportation, you need to wear a mask. And in healthcare settings, including long-term care facilities, masks will still be required. But, and yeah, and of course, they'll still be required in correctional facilities, detention centers, homeless and emergency shelters, and cooling centers for now. But people who are not fully vaccinated will still be required to wear a face mask or face covering when indoors and when attending large outdoor events like concerts or sport events or things of that nature. And then uh, business owners will ultimately need to post requirements that people who are unvaccinated are still required to wear masks, although that is kind of uh, standard across the county, across the state. So I don't know how critical it will be to put up that reminder, but that's one of the things the state is requesting. And then the enforcement mechanism will be, basically an honor system between businesses and their customers. So there aren't any, the state has declined doing a vaccine passport sort of item, but the state will um, not require, most businesses to check vaccination status before people are allowed inside, but, they will require that indoor events with more than 5,000 or more attendees confirm that attendees are fully vaccinated or have a negative COVID test within 72 hours prior to the event. So, Moscone Center, the large conference centers that are starting to look at bringing people back, will still require, proof of vaccination or at least a negative test from a local COVID-19 test within 72 hours. So things are changing. Things will change on June 15th, on Tuesday. Definitely, things are opening up and people are seeing each other, and being back in person, I think, is very good. And so I think it's important to continue to wear your mask where you are around people that you're not normally around, or if you feel unsafe in any way. If you haven't been able to get the vaccination because of health issues, there are reasons that people don't feel good, or doctor has said because of medication that they shouldn't get the vaccination. And so definitely that will be important to make sure that there will be people that feel safe or feel safer being wearing masks, and I think that will continue for a while, to say the least. And then on Wednesday, on a unanimous vote, Santa Clara Valley Water, uh, basically they declared a water shortage emergency and set the target of reducing water use by 33% countywide from the 2013 levels. The year the state basically uses as a baseline. And so we'll see where this goes. It's like, and we've been talking about the upcoming drought issues. The district urged cities to put in place water wasting rules and mandates. And this includes limiting lawn watering to no more than 3 days a week. You know, as in the last drought, the rules are likely to include monthly water allocations for each home, beyond which financial penalties would apply from a water district standpoint. But we'll talk about one of the questions was what's required from a Sunnyvale standpoint. So we'll get to that in just a minute. Let's go ahead and get to our weekly numbers on COVID testing and vaccinations. From a nation standpoint, things things are still looking really good. We now have 33.2 million positive cases, but that's only about 100,000 positive cases in the last week, way down from where we were before. Nationally, we've surpassed 169 million people, 12 and older. That's about 64% of our population with at least one dose, and 41% of our population is fully vaccinated. So, the death rate due to COVID continues to move forward. We've had 4,000, about 4,000 in the last week, so 596,000, almost 600,000 deaths related to COVID. And then from a California standpoint, we've had 3.7 million positive cases, but we're only averaging about 900 cases a day now. And California has just had about 62,000 fatalities. But on a positive note, we've had over 39.1 million vaccines administered, over 1 million in the last week. So as far as rankings from state to state, we're now at number 12. We were at number 13 for several weeks on states with residents with at least one dose, with 58%. 58.2% of our residents have at least one dose, and we're now at number 20. We were at 21 on states with residents that are fully vaccinated, which is about 45% of our residents are fully vaccinated. And then, from a county standpoint, our county is still looking really good. We've had only about 200 new cases in the last week, so we're still right around 119,000 cases. We've had about 20 new deaths in the last week, so we're at 2,165 deaths. And then we've had almost 1.2 million people that are fully vaccinated, so that's 68% of our population is fully vaccinated, and 1.3 million with at least one dose, and that's fantastic. We have 78.5% of our county is fully vaccinated, and I think it's one of the highest rates across the nation as far as large counties. So it's really great. It's everybody doing their part to at least get that vaccination. I continue to do a lot of advocating on our city's behalf. At the county level, been having a lot of discussions with our county supervisors for testing. The mobile county pop-up van continues to be at Murphy Park. It's no longer 2 days a month. It'll be only the second Monday. So it was the second and fourth Monday. Now it's only going to be at the second Monday. So they'll be back this coming Monday, June 14th, from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you need to get tested, you can go to sccfreetest.org to see all the places around the county that you can get tested. And it's still a good thing to intermittently get tested. But if you need to get tested, you can get tested this coming Monday, and it's just drop in. You can set up an appointment, or you can just drop in and be there to get tested. And then as far as getting vaccinated, the city partnered with El Camino Health and LinkedIn for a vaccination site at 1300 Maud Avenue. It's right near Mary. And they are taking walk-ins. They're also, taking, it's better if appointments aren't required, but are strongly encouraged. They're still taking walk-ins. So if you need to get vaccinated, that's one place that you can do it locally. And the county has a lot of drop-in vaccination clinics, no appointments required, across the county. Last week, I was able to get, the county to come to Plaza del Rey to do a vaccination site, and I heard that was successful. And then starting earlier, I think starting the beginning of June, the Mayview Community Health Center, that's at the Columbia Neighborhood Center, is having evening vaccinations from 5 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. So if you need to get vaccinated, go to sccfreevax.org, and you can find some place near you that you should be able to get vaccinated if you're qualified. And I wanted to give you some upcoming events. So June 15th, our council will, it should be hopefully a short meeting, but it'll focus on the adoption of our 2021-2022 budget. So it won't be a long evening, so that should be positive. And then on June 15th, so next Tuesday, California will fully open up. with the no capacity limits, and we talked about a little bit about what the masking limits are going to be. But in general, if you're vaccinated, you uh, have uh, kind of free reign to be indoors without a mask. And then, of course, Tuesday, 10 people will be chosen to receive that $1.5 million lottery. So good luck to everyone. I'm keeping my fingers crossed too. And then on next Thursday, June 17th, Council will be interviewing our applicants for our redistricting committee. We talked about that before. We had 22 applicants that are basically wanting to help reset the boundaries based upon the district boundaries based upon the 2020 census. And so we need to do that over the next 6 months or a year. And so it's choosing those members that will be part of that committee. Let's go ahead and get to our questions for the week. Molly asked, any update on the new pool at Washington Park? Rosemary asked, are we going to heat it? Joe asked, are there any details yet on the operating days, hours for lap swim? So I posted yesterday or the day before, the swim center at Washington Park is moving along fairly rapidly. The buildings are pretty much complete. The pool is complete. There's still some efforts to do over the next month, as far as landscaping and some finishing touches. The artwork that is going to be at the park, or going to be on the swim center, just went in this past week, and so I was actually pretty impressed to see what the final results of that were. As far as the operation of the pool, it's the pool is going to open beginning in July. No date set, and I'll give you that date when I know. But that, and we do have staff set up, as far as I know, and so there's still questions as far as the pool is concerned. I don't think it'll be open year round. I think it's going to be open for the rest of the summer, but I am trying to confirm that with city staff. I didn't ask that question when I was getting my last update about the pool, and so I will find out. And I don't think the pool is heated, but I'll check on that also. Nancy asked, do you know if and when the Blinum apricots will be for sale at the community center again this year? We discovered them last year for the first time, even though we've lived in Sunnyvale for 11 years. We would love to make eating Sunnyvale Blinums an annual tradition. Absolutely. There's a lot of people that look forward to having our apricots every year. And yeah, definitely that Heritage Orchard, the apricots are producing. I ran by earlier this morning, and they're ripening on the trees. They're usually become available about the end of June. So we're probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks from when they'll be available. And I know a lot of people, hurry off and hurry to pick them up. Definitely the parking lot has already been kind of reserved for where the stand will be set up, but that stand isn't there yet. They haven't been picked from the trees, but I'll keep people up to date on when that's happening. People look forward to enjoying that, and it's kind of the beginning of summer for a lot of people. Charlie Olson has been doing a great job of keeping that orchard going, and so I think it's people really enjoy either eating the fresh apricots or the dried apricots, which are a fantastic addition every year. Jeff asked, what's happening with the Macy's demolition? So last week the pedestrian bridge between the parking structure and Macy's was torn down. And then just starting yesterday, demolition really started in earnest. So you can take a look, you can go by Macy's today and see, their multiple pieces of machinery are tearing down the walls in the different floors, and then carting away that remains. So if you want to go by and say goodbye to Macy's, if you want to go by there, this is the time to do it. You can actually take a look at, I think they'll get through the triangle skylights that were on the second floor, and so they're about a quarter of the way through the building. They'll probably finish, my guess not today, but early next week. But definitely go by, especially hearing from kids who and adults who like to see construction equipment hard at work. That demolition is pretty interesting to see. Next, Min Kun asked, would you please summarize for us what the water restriction penalties we have or will have? All I hear from the news is 15%. As a resident, what does that mean for us? So I can't tell you if we will reinstate the fines. I'm still talking to the city manager on that, but mainly we have common sense ordinances in place now. So we've had ongoing restrictions in place to basically promote conservation. This helps protect, our water supply and our health and safety needs in general, especially since water is such a precious resource as far as everyone is concerned. But we're basically going to most likely go back to where we were before, prohibit non-essential uses, and so the use of potable water to irrigate outdoor landscaping between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Would be prohibited. And unless of course it's a drip system, so there's certain exemptions. The use of potable water to irrigate outdoor landscaping more than 15 minutes per day per station is one of the things that would be prohibited. And then prohibit the use of potable water to wash sidewalks, driveways, patios, parking lots, porches, other paved surfaces. So all that is restricted. So as we define that better, definitely we'll go through and inform the public on what those new restrictions are. It's always a good idea to evaluate what your water usage is. A lot of people, including ourselves, have gotten rid of their landscaping or gotten rid of their green front yards, their lawns, and replaced them with drought resistant vegetation. I think that's been a very positive thing, and I see that throughout the city. There are programs that Silicon Valley Water is funding to replace your landscaping. So definitely go to the Silicon Valley Water page, and there are programs that if you want to get rid of your lawn, now is a perfect time to do it. Next, Rosemary asked, what are the plans to get fiber optic internet in Sunnyvale? And we actually currently there are none. We were actively working with Google Fiber about 4 years ago, trying to get them to put fiber into Sunnyvale, and then Google decided to stop doing that program. So I continue to have discussions with several of our telecom providers, and fiber to everyone isn't provided yet, but we're looking. I continue to advocate for that. Sharon asked, is there a website where we can see the details of new development downtown? I'm not sure which is open space and which is being developed. So I did talk to the city manager. They are going to be adding that new website overview of what's been approved and kind of what the ultimate look for open space and new buildings are going to be downtown. Redwood Square is going to be kept, so that's a very positive thing. And then housing will be built around it. The Macy's is torn down with underground parking, so parking for the housing as well as additional office space, and all that will have, of course, retail on the bottom floor. So I think it's that mixed use design is working well and looks well along McKinley, along TAFE right now, as we see more stores opening up. One of the things that is opening up in July is Ulta Beauty, so right across from the Whole Foods on that bottom floor of underneath that front side of McKinley, underneath Target. That will be an Ulta Beauty for those that have been wondering what that store is going to be. Angela asks, what can we do to keep Murphy Avenue closed to car traffic indefinitely? Will there be future votes or other ways to get involved and voice my opinion? And so, yeah, this is a more complex issue than originally thought. Definitely, there are bigger issues like fire access, and when you officially close the street, there's also state funding that we get for how many streets or how many miles the streets that we have open. So even closing that large city block, that means that we get a little less funding from the state. That being said, I did confirm with the city manager that our plan is to have that at least to go till January of 2022, and before then, that will come back to council on what needs to get done and what decisions are made. Keep telling your businesses that you enjoy it, and then when it does come in come to council, I'll definitely ask people to reach out, to write letters. But in general, everything that I've heard is pretty positive about that being our downtown. Jason asked, are you going to restart your in-person office hours? Yes, I am. And so that's one of the reasons why I've been moving to an 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. live stream event. I'll be heading down to Murphy Avenue just after we finish here today, and I'll be meeting with people. So if you want to come down, talk to me for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you can always email me to reserve a time slot. But definitely, being out on Murphy Avenue, and I was just there yesterday morning, is really nice, and it's nice to see people, say hi, get updates for how people are doing, and trying to see what things will look like after COVID. Let's see. Anand asked, with the change in mask guidance from the state taking effect on June 15th, will Sunnyvale businesses follow the new guidance? Yes, that one of the things that the state is providing and kind of the county is duplicating what the state guidelines are is, businesses can and businesses do have a little leeway to provide more restrictive or guidance, but ultimately all this will be following the state guidelines, the county guidelines of if you're vaccinated, you don't need to be masked indoors, depending upon what your business is, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. It's up to the businesses to decide. They need to post that that's a requirement, the new requirement. So I think that's it for questions. Oh, question from George. Have you any insight into Beck's shoes being driven out by massive rent increases at their Sunnyvale location when they tried to open up after the pandemic shutdown? And I know there were good landlords and bad landlords under COVID. I know some landlords actually reduced the rates that their tenants were paying, or postponed them completely, postponed taking rent if the business wasn't allowed to operate. There were also some bad landlords that continued to increase their rent during COVID. Even with the eviction moratorium, they wanted to basically continue to ask for rent increases. So I don't know specifically about Beck's shoes, but I have heard good and bad stories during the pandemic, and it's to me it's a little it's not good a good way to run your business if you're taking advantage of businesses that can't even be open, or having to do reduced occupancy, or reduced operating hours, whatever the issue is. So sorry to hear that was the case as far as Bex is concerned. It's getting close to 10, getting close to 9. Well, habit. It's getting close to 9, so let's go ahead and wrap up. Thanks for joining me again this week. I'm always proud of Sunnyvale's response to the pandemic. Life continues to be uncertain. New issues always seem to come up, but your actions really do make a difference. Get your vaccination. Continue to help others wherever you can. Build community. I'm really proud to see Sunnyvale residents, pulling together to help those in need, sharing what they have, whether or not it's fruit off their trees or, children's toys. I still see that as a common thing. If you're out on a walk, wave, say hello to people. Uh, People miss that social interaction. We're finally starting to get back to normal. People not having to wear their masks. Sunnyvale will emerge from this as a stronger community. We're in this together, and we will get through this together. Thanks for listening. Again, to everyone, stay safe, have a great weekend, and see you next week. Goodbye.